Hi, I'm Olie and today we will have a crafts kind of video. It's a video where I share multiple different crafts, usually surrounding the same theme, and the theme for this video is fruits or berries. Honestly, most of the projects are blueberry themed because my husband and I are celebrating our 4th anniversary, and 4th anniversaries are usually associated with linen or fruits. And for my gifts for him, I picked the fruit theme because it aligns better with my style. Let me show you some of the things I have already made. The first one is this blueberry coaster. It's like a squashed berry coaster. Overall, I wanted to make things for him that he can take with him to the office. He goes there several times a week, so I wanted him to have a bit of home, a bit of comfort with him there. So I made this, and then I got inspired by the Caffeinated Snails mug cozy. It's actually a travel cup cozy because it connects in the back, and I like takeout cups. I like to have takeout coffee, but I know that he doesn't do it as much. So for him, I crocheted this mug cozy that one could actually put around a mug with a handle. And at first I wanted to use a button, but then I came up with this little thing, like leaves. I wanted it to match the theme that I chose, which is blueberry, because blueberries are very common here in Finland. Well, this is it from me for now. Let's move on to the next portion of the video where I actually show you the behind the scenes of the project and also share how I made a felt photo frame and a card using a bit of crochet here and there. So here I followed basically the pattern by the Caffeinated Snail for her pumpkin cup cozy, but because I was making this for a mug, I needed to come up with some way to create the beginning and the end to it, because in her pattern it's sewn shut and you pull it onto the cup because it's designed to be for a takeaway cup. But because mugs usually have a handle, they need to be wrapped kind of under the handle. At first I wanted to have a button on this side, but then I came up with a more creative way, such as crocheting these leaves, and then I put them into this hole here, and it creates this snug fit. And since this is pretty much the only difference to the pattern, other than I think I chained a different number of chains from the pattern initially, but otherwise I followed that pattern, and these leaves and this hole are the only difference. I wanted to show you how to make them so you can replicate the project fully. Here I tested a bit if I still remembered correctly how to do the leaves, and yes, I did. But I'll actually start by showing you how to make this hole here through which you will pull through the leaves and this way secure the mug cozy. But yes, so here is our row, so your last row of your project. Then you chain 2 to turn, because you turn every round, every row in this project. And then I was working double crochets in each stitch up to the middle. So in my case I have 12 stitches, so I divided this number by 2, 6. So I need to work 6 double crochets before I do something extra, before I place that hole. So yeah, for now I'm just working double crochets. 5 and 6. If you happen to have an uneven number of stitches, you divide by 2 and then you will skip the stitch right in the middle. I don't need to do that because I have an even number of stitches, but either way, I worked my double crochets up to the middle, then I chain 3, so like this, and continue with double crochets until the end of the row. So all you basically needed to do to create that hole here was chain 3 between 2 double crochets, and this creates this nice shape. And yes, and then I worked 6 more double crochets to end the row, and there it is. I will now undo what I just did, since this is just, a sample for me to show you. I will undo it and show you how I crochet the leaves. So we start the row the same way with turning chains, then doing again, making those double crochets, the same number as in the previous part, so 6 in my case. Again, you divide the number of the stitches that you had in the previous row by 2, and if you had an uneven number of stitches, divide by 2, and then you'll skip the one in the very middle. I've worked 6 double crochets, and now I will chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have this little chain here, and now starting from the second chain from the hook, I work a single crochet, then half double crochet, a double crochet, another double crochet but into the next stitch, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. And this way we have this mini leaf formed with 6 stitches, a single crochet, half double, 2 double crochets, another half double, and a single crochet. And now we slip stitch into the same stitch, into the same double crochet where we started with the chain, like this. And now we create a second chain. For the second leaf, again, 7 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And you repeat the sequence. So starting from the second chain from the hook, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, another double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet, and finally a single crochet to end this leaf. So now you have 2 mini leaves, and you slip stitch again into the same double crochet where we started this whole part of the row, like this, and then you continue with your double crochets into the main row. So in my case it's 6 more. And there you have it. Let me spread it out a bit. You have this nice leaf shape. And of course, depending on what kind of size you want to make, what fits your mug, here I used a smaller hook, hence the smaller result, but here I used, I think, like 4 or 4.5 millimeter hook. So the whole thing overall is bigger, and here I had, I think, a bit more rows than in the pattern by the caffeinated snail, but I can be wrong because I crocheted it some time ago. Either way, yeah, follow her pattern for the main part and then refer to what I just shared for the little leaf element of it. I also crocheted this little coaster for warm drinks, and it's supposed to look like a squashed berry, blueberry in this case. And if you are an experienced crocheter, you probably can figure out how to make it. I'll explain though briefly. So you just crochet in round, so you create a circle as big as you need your coaster to be. In my case, I did 4 rows, 4 rounds, and then in back loop only I added a scallop edge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so yeah, 6 scallops. And after that, separately I crocheted leaves, and these leaves follow a similar pattern to my leaf headband. So if you've crocheted that one, then you know how to make these leaves. And I crocheted two at the same time. It's also quite similar to what we did here, just without the double crochet row before it. And then created this little stem by chaining and then working, I think, half double crochet in each stitch, in each chain. But if you are interested in detailed instructions for this coaster, then I have them available in my shop and you can find the link in the description. Otherwise, we can move on to the next portion of the video. Hey, so it got chilly already, alright? It's quite cold indoors, and if you live in an apartment, it means you don't decide when the heating goes on, so it's not on. And I'm wearing my hexagon cardigan today to keep myself warm. The game plan is I am going to fetch everything I need to make a photo frame. The felt photo frame shaped like blueberry with some crocheted details. So first I'll fetch what I can fetch right away. Then I'll crochet the small details and maybe share some tips or even patterns on how to make those parts. Then I'll sew everything together and show you the result. So yeah, my husband is at work today, so this is a prime time for me to do this, so he doesn't notice. It's not like he pays very close attention to what I craft whenever I do, because I craft all the time. He always praises what I do when I show him, but not necessarily during the process. But still, I think he will notice his face being shoved into a small felt thingy. So yeah, so that should be done today while he's not here. And it's late in the afternoon already, so I should get started. So here's what I'm planning on using. So I picked this felt for the berry itself. So this dark one will go in the back. This I will use for the front piece. And then I have some fabric glue in case, you know, I get lazy. Then I have these googly eyes. I thought would be quite cute. Then a bunch of yarn. So this one I will use for the stem. This I hope will be enough for the leaves, but we'll see. Maybe I will use more of the green yarn and make the stem and the leaves of the same color. I still am deciding on that. Then I have this for a little heart. This one of the viewers complimented, so now I'm inclined to finally finish the scraps and I'll make maybe 1 or 2 stars with it. Here's my embroidery floss. One of the viewers, by the way, I love when you leave comments because I learn so much. I know what you would like to see. I know if I'm on the right track. Also, it feels like a community. It feels like I'm talking to my friends. This is the reason I started this channel. I just needed more crafty friends in my life. So yes, one viewer suggested splitting the floss, and I agree. Yes, I noticed that most things I see online use way thinner thread, and I don't have it, so how about I just split the one I have? Great idea. And this I thought I would use for like blush accents, since I'm using googly eyes, so it will be like a blueberry with eyes and basically a face, and in its mouth there will be a picture of us, which I need to print right now, so I'll go do that. Obviously this is when the printer decided to act up and I'm low on ink, but it kinda even looks intentional because it matches the blueberry theme, plus we kinda look like that blueberry girl from Willy Wonka, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so why not for now. And also a fun thing about this project, that this frame is like a pocket, right? So you can switch out the photos, and I thought of putting the photo into this plastic sleeve that I had from something that I bought, and this way it looks a bit more like a professional frame. Also check out my new scissors, Kuromi themed. I have a mild obsession with Kuromi at the moment, especially after the Netflix show My Melody and Kuromi, and they also fit the theme very well since Kuromi's color is purple. Well, okay, now I already sketched out the berry, which I will cut out now. Then I will measure how big I want the photo to be. I will trim this sleeve a bit, I think, if it's possible. And then we can get started on all the decor. The amount of engineering it took me to figure it out is insane, especially for my very much social arts only brain, but hopefully now when I cut this out, it will work. I'm just, praying to the gods of crafts. We fit! Yay! Yes, I'm super happy. Now I will do everything I need to do on the front and only then sew them together. Otherwise, sewing from the inside will be very difficult, and this is not soft at all. It's more like paper, like cardboard, so it would wrinkle so much if I was to bend it, so I won't do that. Here is one star, and you can see the pattern on the screen right now. I just did mostly chains in the magic ring, so like chain 4, slip stitched into the second chain from the hook, then chain 2 and slip stitched back to the magic ring. So this sequence I repeated it 5 times, and now I have this star-like shape, and here's the perfect little heart. This pattern I think is a bit more well known. It's 3 treble crochets and 3 double crochets, chain, 1 treble, chain, and then you repeat the whole thing. I still need to figure out where exactly things will go. These googly eyes are not in their final place either. But before that, I need to crochet some blush accents. Well, look, it's all coming together, I think. So with the leaves, I chained 9 and then starting with single crochet, crocheted in each stitch, but I just did 2 treble crochets and then slip stitched in the last stitch, so single crochet plus slip stitch, same on the other side, and then I twisted the leaves. I wanted different textures. I think it will look fun. Now let's see how we arrange it all. I know that my husband is basically on his way back home, so I'll clean up in case I need to hide it real quick. I think I'll use fabric glue for these little pieces. Here I probably will sew them together first and then maybe glue, we'll see. I will glue on the eyes, but this, like the front part and the back part, I will stitch together with a blanket stitch. I need to also remember to keep the top open so that I can switch out the photo from time to time. So I'll also blanket stitch, but only the front piece here. I think it should work, and then I will in the back glue something. I don't know if it will be out of felt or out of cardboard, so it will be like a stand for the photo frame. So that the card matched all other projects, I decided to incorporate fiber arts. So I crocheted a bow to kind of mimic the leaves in a playful way, then a stem, and I also decided to use the same felt that I used for the photo frame, but for the card, so I made the berries with it. I used an A6 sized plain card I had in this dark green color as a base, because I also thought that it matched quite well the aesthetic that I went for this gift set. And it was a very fun card to make because I kinda improvised on the go. I had an overall concept, of course, since I crocheted some parts for the card, but I didn't really know what the layout would be. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's a bit silly. It looks simpler than it actually is. Like, the process took me a bit of time, but not too long. Sometimes I can pick on all the little details, and here I didn't quite do it. I just went with the flow. I let the inspiration kinda lead the way. And I also thought I could share what we did on our anniversary. We had a very fun date. First we went to a museum to see kinda what the current exhibition was, and there were a bunch of artists, and the main exhibition was dedicated to color and how people express themselves through art and color, which I thought was very fun. And there was also a photo exhibition with religious themes in it, which I enjoyed a bit less. But after that we went to a cafe at the museum and ate a very tasty cake and drank coffee, after which we rushed to a bowling alley because we had a lane booked and had fun playing bowling. I'm not great at it, but I was surprisingly better than I expected. I even had 2 strikes and some spares, so that was fun. Also, Seba liked the gifts that I made for him, which made me very happy, because of course the best part about making something like this is to kind of see the reaction, to see that the person appreciated that you put the effort and all the thought into the gift. And yeah, since we've been together for a while, of course it's quite hard to come up with the ideas, but I think I managed quite well. And I hope that you find some inspiration for maybe some of your projects. Who knows, maybe there is a celebration coming up in your life and this is why you are watching this video, or I just kept you company while you were crafting something of your own. Either way, let me know in the comments. I love reading them. Well, and there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did in the comments, and if you end up making any of these projects on your own and share them online, do tag me. I'm Olive_Olie pretty much everywhere. Consider subscribing not to miss my future videos, and I'll see you next week when we'll do something cozy together. Take care!